Hello and welcome to my show Indus Cuisine, and I'm your chef Basim Akhund. We're back with another new episode from the heart of Pakistan. Today's recipe is very interesting, and this history basically dates back to the Mughal Empire. Everyone knows that whenever we talk about koftas or meatballs were mostly originated from the country of Turkey, present-day Turkey, also known as the Ottoman Empire back in the day. The recipe is an authentic Kashmiri recipe which we're basically going to learn today, and this recipe has its roots towards the Mughal Empire. Everyone knows that Kashmir is considered as heaven on earth in Pakistan and throughout the world, and all the royal families back in the day used to go for their summer vacations into the mountains because it was a colder place as compared to the straight lands of the country. Everyone knows that Islamabad is very close to the northern areas of Pakistan and to Kashmir also, and even nowadays, like, it's really hot in Islamabad. It's like summer. Everyone goes for a small trip, or you could say a small vacation or a picnic, to the mountains of Kashmir, to the valley of Kashmir, and also to Gilgit-Baltistan. So what are the ingredients of today's recipe? They're very easy, and we are basically going to use some salt, some sugar. We'll be using some turmeric powder, some Kashmiri lal mirch. We'll be using some garam masala, some cumin seeds, some anise seed. We'll be using some ginger garlic. We'll be using some mustard seed oil. You must remember that mustard seed oil has a very distinct flavor, and you cannot mix mustard seed oil with anything else, or you cannot replace mustard seed oil. Why? Because it has a very distinct flavor. As the Italians say, without olive oil you can't make their pasta. The same way, without mustard seed oil you can't make this recipe of today. Okay, then you need some yogurt, you need some clarified butter, you need around half a kilogram of mutton mince, then you need around 2 pieces of onion, which I shall basically use one. I've just kept the other one for the safe side. Then we need some green chilies, some coriander, and some mint leaves should be used fresh. Okay, so I'll just pick up a pan first, and I shall start cooking for today's recipe. It shall go over here, and once it comes to heat, we shall add a few ingredients. Till that time, what I'll do is I'll pick up one onion, I'll keep it over here, and I shall finely slice it. The onion for this recipe must be finely sliced, but otherwise for other recipes we keep it chopped properly. Turn it around. This is done. Slowly and gradually, it will take you a long way. Do not try chopping too fast. You can slip, and you can also hurt your finger really badly. Okay, this is done. The pan has come to heat. It's already so hot in Islamabad today that everything is basically boiling up. Okay, this is done. What I'll do now is I shall just pick up some clarified butter, which is also almost melted. I'll add it over here. I'll give it a lid back or the cling wrap, and I shall transfer all the onions into the oil and saute them till the time they are light brown. For this recipe you must make the onions light brown. Please remember that. You cannot leave them translucent, because the flavor of a translucent onion is different as compared to a light brown onion, and as also compared to a dark brown onion. So slowly and gradually follow the recipe, and you shall go a very long way in your cooking life. Okay, this is done. We shall add around, let's say, just a pinch of salt. Shake it up. And now start mixing it properly. What I'll do now is I shall give it a lid, and I shall let it cook on low heat. So I'll reduce the heat and let it cook on low heat so that it doesn't start browning from the outside and it doesn't stay raw from the inside. Slowly and gradually, remember that. Okay, now on the other hand, what do we need is we need some ginger, which we shall finely slice, and this is more than enough for now. What I'll do is I shall just slice it even more thin. Wherever you see the ginger being a little thick, slice it even more. Go super close. And make sure every slice is almost paper thin. This is done. The last part of the ginger must be sliced. Take it out. Just go super fine. This is done. The remaining ginger goes over here. And what I'll do is, now as you can see, the onions are still translucent. I shall transfer all the ginger, but as I told you, for this recipe we shall go finely sliced. I shall pick it up smoothly and transfer it here. Okay, I'll add another pinch of salt so that the ginger also gets a nice chance of frying. Shake it up and mix it back. This is done. Okay, now let this cook on low heat. Now what we shall do is we shall basically prepare the beetroot. This is what will give the recipe its nice red color. We'll be using one right now. We have another one. Why? Because remember, whenever we're cooking on screen, we keep a backup, because you never know if you cut something and if it comes out bad, what you do is you pick up a new one and you always cook. It's just like home cooking. Never just buy one ingredient. Okay, just slice it. The beetroot is perfectly soft. One of my favorite ingredients. Gives a beautiful color to the food also, and it also gives a very nice, you could say, sweet texture to what you're basically cooking for. Okay, now what I'll do is I shall pick up all these pieces. It makes your hand a little red, so once you're done cooking, just immediately wash your hands. So as you can see, the onions are nicely light brown. I'll just shift it out to the stove where the basically fire is off. The fire is off over here also, but because these are, you could say, commercial stoves, the pilot is always on, so I do not want the pilot to even heat the oil because the transition is very quick. On the other hand, now we shall process the beetroots, but remember one thing, you need to add a little bit of water. We'll add around half a cup of water and convert these beetroots into a nice thick paste. Okay, give it a lid and now start converting them. The beetroots are done. Now what I'll do is I'll let it rest over here on the side, and we shall now go for a short break. Once we're back from the break, I'll let you know what to do next. Don't go anywhere. Keep watching Indus Cuisine. Welcome back. You're watching Indus Cuisine and I'm your chef Basim Akhund. During the break I just waited for you, and as you can see, we've made this beetroot into a nice processed puree, you could say. I'll keep this on the side, and now what we need to do is we need to make the meatballs. Because the meatballs, what do you need? You need around half a kg of mutton, which I shall keep over here. It has some mutton fat also mixed into it for a good flavor. Okay, now what I'll do is I shall just add a few ingredients. Okay, I've just used the mutton with this hand, so this hand is clean. I shall just press this down. We won't be using anything to hold the mutton together, it will hold together itself. Just add a little bit of garam masala, a little bit of aniseed, then some cumin seeds, some red chili powder, then we shall add some salt, around half a teaspoon. Spread it out properly like this, and then we shall shred some ginger and garlic over here. So what I'll do is I'll pick up the remaining ginger, slowly and gradually start shredding it. keep this on the side. Pull it back and now take some pieces of garlic. We'll take around 4 cloves. Remember, the secret about the best meatball is the ingredients need to be fresh. And when I say fresh, I mean it shouldn't be dried. It should basically come directly from the source. It should not be stored. It should not be frozen. One more thing, frozen is not considered fresh. When this is done, what I'll do is I'll just shake it up. And now we shall keep this on the side. Okay, we don't need this anymore. This goes at the back. I shall just pick up all the ginger and all the garlic and I shall just rub it in the meat. This goes in, fold it, and then just start slowly and gradually massaging it. What I'll also do is I've kept some clarified butter at the back. I'll pick it up, take the cling wrap off, throw it in the bin, and just grease your hands properly. When you grease your hands, what happens is the meat will not stick. Otherwise the meat will stick, and when you're washing your hands, there'll be a lot of fat on your hands which will not get off easily. So slowly and gradually keep mixing. Fold it. Now the more you press it down, the more you mix it, the higher the chances are that it will stick together. Now why am I saying that? The reason is that when I mix it, I take a lot of time. And that leads to the kebab or the kofta or the meatball which you're basically making, it holds together strong. So always remember, the better you mix it, the better you press it down and you convert it into a paste-like texture, the better flavor you shall get. Okay, this is done. Now what do I need? I need a little bit of mustard seed oil. This will only be used for the mutton mince. This is done. Slap it down. Pick this up and start pouring it in. We're basically adding plant-based fat into the meat over here. When you add this in the meat will get a very nice flavor from within as compared to if you're just frying it in it. Okay, now start mixing it, pressing it down. And then we shall now make meatballs out of this. Once I'm done mixing, I shall show you the next step. So as you can see, I've made the meatballs. They're over here, and this recipe can serve easily 5 people. So now we'll just start cooking a little towards the cooker side. So what I need first is I need around 2 green chilies. I'm using 2 right now, but if you have the smaller ones, you'll use 6. Okay, the bigger the green chili, the less spicy it is. Remember that. Pakistan has multiple varieties of green chili. Everyone knows this, and as everyone knows that in Pakistan, people think that green chili is one of the cash crops. Now, why do they think it's a cash crop? The reason behind that is that the green chili is a vegetable, you could say, that basically gives a lot of crop. So it will give green chili on the tree or on the bush at least 6 to 8 months of the year. But for example, if you plant any other form of vegetable, it obviously just gives you vegetable or fruits twice a year. That is it, maximum, that is about it. But this is something which will give you more money in terms of agriculture or in terms of being a farmer. Okay, now I shall mix it up. Let the green chili fry for a bit. I'll flatten it out. And now we shall add a little bit of the beetroot. Mix it up and transfer it here. We have a nice distinct color. Now, why have I added the beetroot right now? Whenever you'll add the beetroot, which has a little bit of water, which is processed, what will happen is it will start evaporating. So I'm trying to evaporate all the beetroot juice, you could say, on high heat, so that I can get the pulp and I can get the flavor in this recipe. For that, what I'll do is I'll add another 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Why? Because salt always helps in the evaporation of any ingredient. Now I shall mix this, fold it in, and keep mixing it so that there are no lumps left in the recipe. This is done. I'll keep this on the side, and now what we shall do is we shall add a little bit of garlic. We need around 3 cloves. Let this fry, and what I'll do is that I shall give it a lid also. Give it a lid, let it fry slowly, and we shall now finely chop the garlic over here. Keep it on the edge and keep going. This is almost done. Now take the lid off. As you can see, the oil is coming back on the top. Pick the garlic, transfer it here. Now start mixing. And keep this on the side. Okay, now we need to add a few spices. What I'll do is I shall add a little bit of aniseed, but for that I will transfer it over here for today's recipe, and I shall just pass my knife a few times. This is done. Pick it up and transfer it here. Start mixing it properly. And reduce the heat to really low. Okay, now I shall just clean up a bit, and then I'll let you know what to do next. After adding the aniseed, what I'll do is I'll add some cumin, some red chili powder, and then we'll add a little bit of turmeric. All of these things go in, the remaining goes at the back. Keep your station super clean and you'll go a long way ahead. We'll use just a pinch of sugar. You could say this would be equivalent to just a 1/4 teaspoon, and we shall start mixing this now. Increase the heat to full and start folding it. I'm also pressing it down so that if there is any form of lump, it basically breaks down easily. This is done. Now I'll reduce the heat to completely 0, and we shall pick up a medium-sized bowl. The bowl goes here. We shall pick up the yogurt, transfer it to the bowl, and then we shall add another cup of water. Why? Because I want to dilute the yogurt first and then use it. This is done. I shall just pick up a ladle and mix it up in the local desi way. They also say that you make lassi like this by basically mixing it, shaking it, and then adding a little bit of salt to it. This is done. Now we'll increase the heat to completely high, and we shall start mixing it. Remember, do not transfer all the yogurt and water mix directly into this, otherwise it will convert it into lumps. We'll add just a ladle first and another one and start mixing all the red over here. Slowly and gradually. Now add all of the yogurt and water mixture over here. Keep this at the back, slowly and gradually, and start mixing it. reduce the heat. And as you can see, it's done. I'll transfer this on the side momentarily, pick up a wok from here and keep it over here. This is done. Just pick this up and transfer all of this into this. This is done. Keep a lid back on top. And now just bring this up to boil. I'll keep this over here. The handkerchief goes over here on the side, and we shall just pick up 2 pieces of green chili, pick up the paring knife and just slit it so that the heat can go in. This goes in directly like this, nothing else. And then now reduce the heat because it has come to boil, and slowly and gradually place all the meatballs in. You will let the meatballs simmer for 12 minutes, remember that, not less. And if you can give it 15 minutes, that would also be fairly good. Do not throw them inside, slowly and gradually put them in. I've also put the green chilies inside. Why? Because the other reason is that the green chili is keeping all the meatballs apart. Small things, small natural ingredients take you a long, long way. And this is done. I'll keep the plate at the back, rinse my hands and let you know what to do next. As you can see, it has come to boil. I'll also give you a slight peep into how this is looking. It looks delicious. I'll give it a lid now and let it cook for 12 to 15 minutes on low heat. You have to let it simmer. Why? Because you don't want the meatballs to get cooked from the outside and it stays raw from the inside. On the other hand, what do you need? Now, you need some mint leaves. I shall just break the tip of it from here. You need some coriander. I'll just pull it up from here and keep it back over here. Now what we'll do is we shall now finely chop it. Keep passing the knife slowly and gradually. Now you have to make sure that this is a very fine mince. If you want to make a super fine mince, what you can do is pick up some salt, add it on top, and then just start mixing. Why? Because the salt will bring the moisture out and it will help in the greens to stick together. So just keep chopping slowly and gradually till the time you get the finest texture ever. And this is done. Now what I'll do is I shall just sprinkle this at the top over here. You can see it's simmering nicely. Half of it goes right now, and I shall add a little bit of garam masala. Now what I'll do is, remember, do not mix it too much, so just shake it up and slowly and gradually mix the garam masala by putting some curry on the top like this. And this is done. Now keep this on the side, increase the heat to full, and in the end add just a little more of the green mince you've basically done on the side. Now let this cook for around 12 minutes more, and then I'll show you the final result of this recipe. Don't go anywhere, keep watching Indus Cuisine. So as you can see, today's episode is done. I hope you liked today's episode. I've cooked for 5 people. This is a serving for 2 people, and I have more food over here. There's more gravy over here also. I'll see you in the episode of Indus Cuisine. Take care of yourself, lovely people. Have a good day. Bye-bye.